As Africa's leading defense news portal, DefenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defense, the South African National Defense Force, and the defense industry. Hi folks, welcome to the past week in defense. In this week's edition, on the continent, Egypt requests the sale of a $417 million Maritime Domain Awareness system. ThyssenKrupp Marine System launches Egypt's fourth Type 209 submarine and confirms local frigate production. The Nigerian Air Force graduates yet more pilots. Ocea launches a new hydrographic vessel for the Nigerian Navy. The United States donates vehicles to Ethiopia and Kenya, and Somali pirates release their final hostage. In SANDF news, discrepancies emerge in ministerial reports on the Harare flight, for which ANC has billed 105,000 rand. The South African Air Force commissions Cuban graduates. The South African Air Force Chief Fabian Msimang bows out, and there is a call for drones for the Free State-Lesotho border. In company news, investigations are underway for a lone suspect robbing the Armscor building. Denel staff face more uncertainty over salary payments, and Paramount Aerospace grows support for the Airborne Tactical Advantage Company under a new adversary air training contract. In African defense news, Egypt requests sale of $417 million Maritime Domain Awareness system. The government of Egypt has requested the purchase of a Maritime Domain Awareness MDA system from the United States at a cost of $417 million. The U.S. Defense Security Cooperation Agency, DSCA, notified Congress of the potential sale on the 1st of October. The DSCA said the MDA system includes multi-site acquisition fixed and mobile radars with supporting facilities, fixed, mobile, and airborne electro-optical/infrared sensors, radio communication suites, hybrid power generation systems, closed-circuit television, power and data distribution units, automatic identification system, and various other surveillance and communication systems and other related elements of logistical and program support. The prime contractor will be the Advanced Technology Systems Company based in McLean, Virginia. ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems launches Egypt's fourth Type 209 submarine and confirms local frigate production. ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems has launched the fourth and final Type 209/1400 mod submarine for the Egyptian Navy during a ceremony at its yard in Kiel, Germany. The Egyptian Navy's newest submarine was launched on the 29th of September and officially named S-44 by Vice Admiral Ahmed Khalid Hassan Said, Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Navy. This comes after an agreement for Alexandria Shipyard to build a single Meko A200 frigate in Egypt. ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems is busy building another 3 Egyptian Navy Meko frigates in Germany. Nigerian Air Force graduates yet more pilots. The Nigerian Air Force has graduated another set of 6 pilots in tactical and basic flying, weeks after graduating 29 student pilots as it continues to expand its personnel and capabilities. The Nigerian Air Force said the latest graduation ceremony took place on 29th of September and comprised 2 pilots of the Tactical Flying Course 24, Batch B, and 4 student pilots of the Basic Flying Course 19, Batch A. Among the graduates awarded Limited Combat Rating Certificate after completing the tactical flying course on the Alpha Jet aircraft was the first female fixed-wing fighter pilot in the history of the Nigerian Air Force, Flying Officer Kafayat Sani. Ocea launches new hydrographic survey vessel for the Nigerian Navy. France's Ocea has launched a new hydrographic survey vessel, the Lana, for the Nigerian Navy 2 years after the contract was placed. The launch took place at Ocea's site in Les Sables d'Olonne on 24th of September and was attended by the Nigerian ambassador of France, a delegation from the Nigerian Navy headquarters in Abuja, and representatives from the French administration. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Bas, represented by Rear Admiral Abraham Majadi, said the new vessel was conceived as a replacement for the Nigerian Navy survey vessel NNS Lana, which was decommissioned about 10 years ago. He said the new vessel will be crucial in ensuring safe navigation as well as enhancing maritime security. Construction of the new vessel started in 2018 and it is scheduled to join the Nigerian Navy fleet in 2021. The Ocea OSV 190 SCWB design will allow for coastal and deep sea scientific research and studies, fishing control, surveillance of the exclusive economic zone, assistance and supplies to other boats and the towing ships, Ocea said. US donates vehicles to Ethiopia and Kenya. The United States has donated vehicles to Ethiopia and Kenya to strengthen their respective militaries against Al-Shabaab. The US Embassy in Ethiopia on the 29th of September said the US Department of Defense provided $2.9 million worth of training and equipment to the Ethiopian National Defense Forces in support of its efforts to disrupt the threats posed by Al-Shabaab in Somalia and other terrorist organizations. The equipment donated includes Toyota Land Cruisers, troop transports, ambulances, cargo and fuel trucks, water trailers, operations center computers, and night vision devices. A photo showed 9 Iveco trucks and 12 Land Cruisers being handed over. On the 17th of September, the United States donated 23 vehicles to the Kenya Defense Forces, including 15 Mack trucks and 8 up-armored Humvees. They were handed over by US military representatives in Nairobi. In 2018, the US government handed Kenya 12 Bastion armored personnel carriers to improve border surveillance. No more hostages held by Somali pirates. Over the 5 years, Somali pirates took more than 3,600 people hostage in attacks on ships varying in size from tankers through to container transporters, house, fishing vessels, and yachts. All those held captive by Somali pirates are now free, the International Maritime Bureau has said in September, after 3 crew members of an Iranian-registered fishing vessel were released. The 3 were working on FV Siraj when it was attacked off Hobyo of Somalia in March 2015. In a letter dated 15th of September, the chair of the contact group on piracy off the coast of Somalia expressed relief over the release made possible by the intervention of hostage support partners. And in SANDF news, ANC billed 105,000 Rand plus for SA Air Force jet flight. The ruling African National Congress, ANC, has been billed 105,545 Rand by government in the form of a Secretary for Defense to cover costs of a party delegation given a lift aboard a SA Air Force bizjet. This, apart from the actual payment of the amount owing, ends another chapter in a highly public saga around abuse of state resources, with Defense and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Msimang taking all the presidential flack in the form of being docked 3 months' salary and having to ensure the ANC settles the bill. Her salary will be paid into the Solidarity Fund, established to support the country's response to the coronavirus pandemic. The minister shows what could be interpreted as remorse in one of 2 reports to President Cyril Ramaphosa regarding the flights of Falcon 900 ZSNAN to and from Harare on 8 and 9 September. She writes, in hindsight, it would have been prudent to inform your office in writing of my intention to ferry ANC members to our ZANU-PF counterparts. A thorough study of reports on the Harare flight has brought to light discrepancies and other interesting points, according to Cobus Murray, Democratic Alliance Shadow Minister for Nosiviwe Mapisa-Ngakula's portfolio. He writes, President Cyril Ramaphosa only gave Mapisa-Ngakula permission to travel to Zimbabwe when she was already back in South Africa. He approved her request on 10th of September, the day after the delegation returned. This means Mapisa-Ngakula and her entourage left the country illegally without the approval from the president and in violation of the Executive Ethics Code governing executive travel. The Democratic Alliance will submit this information as supplementary evidence in our complaints against the minister with Parliament's Ethics Committee. Other irregularities, Marias maintains, are in her 2 reports and supporting documentation concerned when Mapisa-Ngakula sought presidential approval for the Zimbabwe visit and that she abandoned her post. Presidential approval was requested the day before the flight was due to take off from Air Force Base Waterkloof. This contravenes the Ministerial Handbook, which requires approval 2 weeks prior to foreign visits. South African Air Force commissions Cuban graduates. Chief of the SA Air Force, Lieutenant General Fabian Msimang, bestowed commissions onto South African Air Force candidate officers who completed various courses in Cuba during a ceremony at the Air Force College in Pretoria on 2nd of October. The 27 candidate officers underwent training in disciplinaries such as engineering, aviation, air traffic control, and technical disciplines. The general began by acknowledging the good relations between the 2 countries and recognizing the role played by Cuba during the struggle for liberation in South Africa, citing the contribution of that country's late revolutionary leader Fidel Castro, the SA Air Force said. SA Air Force Chief bows out. Lieutenant General Fabian Msimang has officially retired as the Chief of the South African Air Force, with a parade and flypast held at Air Force Base Swartkoop on 29th of September to mark the end of his 8 years in office as the head of the airborne arm of the SANDF. Msimang retired because he is 60 years old, which is the mandatory retirement age in the SANDF, and his appointment date was from the 1st of October 2012. The retreat parade at Air Force Base Swartkrop began with the chief flying in a SA Air Force Museum Alouette 3 helicopter. Msimang indicated he would, in retirement, fly with the SA Air Force Museum and join the reserve force. This was followed by a flypast of almost every type of aircraft in the SA Air Force service, along with museum aircraft, including Hawk and Gripen jets. After march past by the Guard of Honor and the SA Air Force Band, a Gripen closed off the ceremony with the flare launch. Call for drones on Free State-Lesotho border. Border protection in South Africa's central province, the Free State, is allocated 88 million rand a year and 370 soldiers, but does not appear to be curbing cross-border crime in any significant way. This opinion was voiced by Democratic Alliance National Council of Provinces Security and Justice spokesperson George Michalakis, following Defence and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula's response to a parliamentary question. In addition to the Free State, landlocked Lesotho has borders with the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, giving it a total of 900 kilometers of land border with South Africa. Commenting on the ministerial response to Shadow Defence and Military Veterans Minister Cobus Marais, Michalakis said agricultural unions are concerned about the devastating effect of cross-border crime, particularly stock theft, along the Lesotho border. In addition to taking the issue up in the Free State Provincial Legislature, Michalakis will approach International Relations and Cooperation Minister Naledi Pandor with a view to upping border security. He suggests bilateral agreements for drones and other technology to be deployed in the border protection role. According to African Defence Review Director Denel, there's more that can and should be done to secure our borders, but it's going to require a commitment to providing extra funding for the SANDF. This is because the only way to cover more border all the time is to have more personnel and surveillance sensors. We have 15 mainly infantry companies deployed to our borders. That's about 2,400 soldiers to patrol over 5,200 kilometers, far from sufficient. The SANDF requested funding to deploy at least 22 companies, to take that number over 3,500, but there's no public appetite for it. To secure the borders to the level politicians and the public are demanding would take far more, at least another 10,000 soldiers. That would cost over 3 billion rand a year extra in salaries, plus at least 3 billion rand for equipment and deployment costs. In company news, 3 investigations underway into Armscor robbery. The robbery of an undisclosed amount of cash from a bank branch at the Armscor building on 30th of September happened on the last day of work for a security company contracted to provide guarding services at the MRS run to buildings and land. The incident occurred when a changeover of security from Bidvest to TAC security was underway. Among measures taken to beef up security is to increase the requirements of a guard numbers and arm some security personnel. Reason for this measure is Armscor identified a need to improve security and use security contractors of South African origin, was the official Armscor response from Advocate Ndodomzi Mvabo, Group Executive Corporate Support. Preliminary information, according to him, is the suspect gained entry to the bank under the pretext of being from Bidvest, contracted to do disinfections at Absa banks. The suspect managed to walk away with an undisclosed amount of money. No casualties were reported. Some Denel salary outlooks not encouraging. Payments of salaries and employee benefits, including pension and medical, remain a sword of Damocles hanging over the head of Denel, with legal action from at least one trade union, a reminder of the need to fully meet personnel commitments. Some Denel divisions received full net salaries at the end of September, others not, is the view of Solidarity Sector Coordinator for Defence and Aviation, Algrad Cronier. Centurion headquartered labour unions monitors its members in the overall defence workforce. This is to date, he said this week, adding Solidarity was still busy with court and legal processes to ensure a court order for the outstanding payments. Paramount Aerospace grows support for ATAC under new adversary air training contract. Paramount Aerospace Systems USA, a subsidiary of Paramount Group, will expand its maintenance, repair and overall services and training support for the Mirage F1 fighter fleet operated by the Airborne Tactical Advantage Company ATAC, as ATAC has been awarded new contracts to provide adversary air pilot training to the US Air Force over the course of the next 4.5 years. The Virginia headquartered ATAC, part of Textron Systems, has been selected to provide 3 US Air Force bases, Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, and Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, with adversary air live training. At the end of September, ATAC announced it had been selected to provide Eglin Air Force Base with adversary air live training under the Combat Air Force's Contracted Air Support Program. Under the award, worth up to $92 million, ATAC will provide adversary air live training to F-22 and F-35 pilots at Eglin. The award provides for over 1,100 sorties per year for up to 4.5 years, which will be provided by ATAC's fleet of Mirage F-1 fighter aircraft and is expected to commence by January 2021. Paramount Aerospace Systems USA intends to scale significantly in both staff and services to meet the requirements of ATAC, including recruiting and training 18 to 20 personnel at the company's US headquarters at Allianz Field in Fort Worth, Texas. Paramount Aerospace Systems' current services comprise maintenance, repair and overhaul, the services of airframes, and return to services (RTS) of Mirage F1 aircraft. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the webcast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.